Okay, my name is Sam Parurinyatko, the Provincial Chairperson for the War Veterans in Mashonaland Central Province. Well, I think everybody was somewhat surprised to get such a letter from people who are considered to be men of the cloth. Men of the cloth are understood to be people who preach love, tolerance, and respect. And when you see them now preaching violence, preaching disunity, then you begin to wonder whether these are real men of the cloth or they are just sheep, as they're just wolves in sheep's clothing. We were surprised, yes, to get the so-called Bishop Ndlovu and his team making such a pronouncement. We thought maybe if they are to do such a thing, they should first of all check the facts on the ground and then rely on tangible facts, not relying on fiction. We then understand that these are not really men of the cloth as they are pronouncing themselves, but they are actually people who are being used to destabilize the country. Because in Zimbabwe, yes, we have got a crisis, but not the crisis they're talking about. The crisis we have is the crisis which is being induced by the sanctions, the crisis which is being induced by the COVID-19 and the likes, not the crisis which is coming from the films or the fictitious films they are shooting around the country. There is no such a crisis. Well, I think the public should just ignore their statement because it is a non-entity. But however, as from the day they published that letter, we are no more treating these guys as bishops or men of the cloth, but we are now treating them as politicians. And we would want to make sure that from now onwards, it is now the political rules and the rules and procedure of politics which are supposed to be applied when dealing with people like Ndlovu and this group. The crisis we are having is that one which has been caused by the sanctions which have been imposed by the West. And we were of the opinion that these bishops should really be in touch with the ground and understand the situation in Zimbabwe. Once they understand the situation in Zimbabwe, then they were not going to produce such a report, because the situation in Zimbabwe is being induced or is being caused by the sanctions, the drought, and other phenomena, not necessarily the abuse of human rights as they are putting it in their letter. We are to have human abuses in Zimbabwe. Those are abuses which are coming as a result of the world not taking on board what the Americans, what the British are doing with regards to imposing sanctions. What the people of Zimbabwe will then consider those to be abuses, because they are being abused. They don't deserve those sanctions. If those sanctions are removed, then their livelihood is likely to what? Is likely to improve. My last words to the whole nation and maybe to the so-called bishops is that let's ignore this letter. We have to be reminded of how our country was colonized. These so-called bishops, they came in the name of as missionaries, and when they came as missionaries, they were actually aiding the colonizers to colonize our country. And this is exactly what is happening right now, because we're having a situation whereby these bishops are being used by the detractors of our nation to ensure that they cause anarchy and disunity within Zimbabwe. So they have to be ignored, but besides them being ignored, I think they have to be treated as they have actually portrayed themselves to be, as politicians, not as men of the cloth.
For these and other stories, visit our website www.263chat.com. Follow us on Twitter @263chat and like our Facebook page 263chat.